What's going on, guys? It is Rinne-Hatake here, back with another video, and today I got What If Naruto Was Like Minato Part 3. And yes, I've been busy today. I've been uploading a lot of videos. So yeah, hopefully you guys do enjoy this what if scenario, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe. But with all that being said, cue the intro. We continue the story where I left off in Part 2. Tears finally fell from his eyes, from holding them back for so long. He cried a long time, finally letting his emotions have an outlet. For the first time in his life, he felt like he was truly alone in the whole world. Sniffling, he asked inside his head, "Kurama, did you know about this?" Kurama remained silent for a few moments, which were enough for Naruto to deduce that he knew. Kurama knew, and he still didn't tell him. "I did know, Naruto. After all, you and I shared the same space for 9 months inside your mother," the fox replied softly. Naruto cried even harder after hearing this. It's like a whole new storm colliding with the storm that was already raging inside him. On one hand, he was happy that Kurama and him, Kurama and them were together before he even came into the world. On the other hand, he felt betrayed that Kurama would withhold information like this from him. He was too emotional to make sense of Kurama's statement right now. He felt really alone. After he finally stopped crying, he stood up, too tired to explore the house right now. And heck, he was too tired to even form a coherent thought. Somehow, he climbed the stairs, opened the first door that was in front of him, and fell onto the bed, asleep before even hitting the soft mattress. Hiruzen's point of view. So Hiruzen was panicking. He knew what day it was, and he had been wanting to get out of his office to spend time with his surrogate grandson. But fate seemed to have other plans for him. Instead of having a normal amount of 3 stacks of paperwork in front of him, he was literally buried in paperwork. He assigned 2 of his Anbu, Parrot and Ox, to keep an eye on Naruto. Basically, those are nicknames for the Anbu. But anyways, we continue. Sadly, he didn't know and was unaware that 2 Anbu were firmly against the demon boy. He didn't know that they were the ones who gave the mob directions to where Naruto was in the evening. It was only when they came to report that he found the truth. The 2 Anbu appeared in his office and knelt down in front of him. "Report," he ordered. Parrot was the first to speak. "We lost the boy, Hokage-sama, because today's the Kyuubi festival. The festival. Crowds were thick, and this time, and that's where we lost him." Unfortunately for the 2, Hiruzen didn't believe them for a second. If not for the seriousness in that situation, he demanded he would have laughed out loud that a 5-year-old was able to lose them in a crowd because they were Anbu. So yeah, Anbu were specifically trained for scenarios like this. Secondly, he caught both of them slip their tongue. Slip on the tongue when they said demon, and it was not so hard to deduce. I do apologize for starting, but we continue. Hiruzen rarely felt anger. In fact, he rarely found a reason to get angry. Even Danzo could only get a small amount of irritation out of him. But right now, he was past irritated. No, he was downright furious. All the Anbu in the room felt the ridiculous amount of killing intent that was coming from the Hokage. And both of them thought, "Oh crap." Both of them knew that they could either get killed or be put in prison right now. That's what they were thinking. "Cat, bear," he shouted. In an instant, the 2 Anbu were kneeling in front of the Hokage. Just behind Parrot and Ox. "Orders, Hokage-sama." Hiruzen barked out. "Take these 2 to Ibiki. Tell them to hold nothing back and find out what they were doing this evening. Also tell Inoichi that I want to know every face that was there in the mob." "Hai, Hokage-sama." The two Anbu instantly caught the traitorous Anbus and promptly flickered out. Now that he was somewhat calm, the previous panic returned. Where was Naruto? Was he injured? Worse, was he dead? Was he even in the village? He took out his crystal ball that he used to keep tabs on the village occasionally. Mostly he used it to ensure that whether Naruto was alright or not. He channeled his chakra through the ball, searching for Naruto. However, he was floored when nothing came up. He repeated the search 2 more times, just to be sure. The results remained the same. He did not like where this was going. It was a strong possibility that Naruto was outside the village walls. "Dog! Tiger!" he called out. In an instant, the two that were mentioned, were before him. "Track him down no matter what. Even search outside the village if you have to." "Hi, Hokage-sama!" They flickered out. Hiruzen sat down with a heavy sigh. He was mentally exhausted from the paperwork that he had been doing all day. And this? So yeah, Hiruzen would think, "Where are you, Naruto?" He decided to sleep in his office and wait for them to come back and report, trusting his Anbu. The sun's rays peeked from in between the curtains, falling straight into Naruto's face. Barely, he opened his eyes. Although he slept peacefully last night, he was still mentally and emotionally exhausted. This type of exhaustion was new to him, having never experienced it before. At first, he had no idea where he was, but then last night's memories came back to him. He viciously fought back the tears that threatened to fall out again. "No! I will not cry again. I did enough of that last night," he reminded himself. It was time. He decided to think through this logically. I do apologize. My tongue was stuck there for a sec. But we continue. First things first. Morning rituals. He got up from the bed, headed to the bathroom. Surprisingly, it was very clean and dust-free compared to the rest of the house. Weird, he thought, before closing the door. Second, he needed to get out of here and meet his Gigi. He had no desire to meet that man now, but the man had looked after him. The man had looked after him like his own. He was there for him when no one was. He was probably sick and worried, or worried sick. Although he was dying to explore the house, it was best not to worry the old man even more. Besides, the faster he could get this over with, the quicker he could return here and explore. Besides, who knows? Maybe his parents left something here for him. So yeah, as soon as he closed the gate behind him, he was surprised to see that the seals of the gate glowed a bit before the gate locked itself. They were not malfunctioning. The seals recognized my chakra, which is why I was able to get in, he thought in awe. He had read that the Yondaime was regarded as a seal master of the highest caliber, but seeing it with his own eyes was entirely different, sensing his chakra signature when he hadn't even unlocked his chakra. His father was awesome. He decided for him, if his father could do Fuin Jutsu like this, he will too, and he would be even better than him. He turned to leave when a thought struck him. He was about to dwell on it, but he roughly shook himself out of it. "I don't have time. I have to meet Gigi." With that, he ran out the area, picking up speed, when he realized that he was quite far from the Hokage Tower. En route, he mentally nudged his friend. "Hey, Kurama, are you awake?" For a few seconds, he heard nothing. Then he heard a yawn in his head, almost making him do the same, before he viciously squashed the urge. "What's up, Naruto?" Naruto faltered in his running, almost falling flat on his face. He couldn't help the grin on his face. Hearing Kurama, an ancient demon, using a slang that kids his age do or use was hilarious. A stray thought from last night's conversation with Kurama. "About last night, what did you mean when you said we shared the same space for 9 months in excuse me. Let me say that again. About last night, what did you mean when you said we shared the same space for 9 months inside my mother?" he asked curiously, turning serious once more. Kurama replied, "I meant what I said, Naruto. You are smart enough to figure that out, or figure out the answer yourself." Naruto's expression turned grim at that. It meant that he and his mother Wait, it meant that he and his mother were exactly the same, host of the Kyubi no Kitsune, but why was his mother Jinchuriki? Kurama interrupted his thought. Naruto blinked at that. What? Kurama elaborated. Jinchuriki is the term that you are looking for. It means power of the human sacrifice. There are humans who have a tailed beast sealed inside them. Naruto. Wait, they are humans who have tailed beasts sealed inside of them. So yeah, we continue. Naruto did not falter even a second after this revelation. He was almost halfway to the tower, which means he could learn a little more. I get what you mean. What I don't understand is why my mother was a Jinchuriki before me. Also, what is my mother's name? Why was I made into one? Questions were coming one after the other like water from a running tap. Kurama raised his eyebrow at the onslaught of questions. Whoa, slow down there, kid. Naruto, you have to understand that I cannot answer all of your questions. Naruto was a little peeved at that. Why not? Kurama shrugged at that, acting as if he didn't even notice Naruto's anger. Because there's an old man who will answer these questions better than I can. Naruto calmed down at that. Kurama was right. He had no hand in who he was sealed in, or who he was sealed. Jiji was the Hokage. He was the one who probably knew more about these creatures, or more about this matter. Yeah, more about this matter. Another thought struck him. The tower. I do apologize if you can hear a lot of background noise. I do apologize, but we continue. Another thought struck him, but the tower was within his sight now. Better make this fast, he mused. Hey Kurama, what was that you gave me? What was that thing or gift you gave me last night? He asked. He could see Kurama grin in the mindscape. I'm surprised you could pick up on that. The fact that you unintentionally used it is even more impressive. Naruto scowled a little. Stop beating around the bush, Kurama, and tell me now. Kurama did not budge. Don't tell me you can't figure it out. Naruto, you may not know, but I can feel how close you are to figuring it out. Naruto was slowly getting irritated with the game of riddles that Kurama was deliberately dragging on. He was about to give in to his mental scar to remember when he suddenly figured it out. He had actually felt the mob approaching him. Did you actually give me sensory ability? Kurama shrugged. Naruto mentally whooped. Thank you so much, Kurama. Secondly, his tone turned menacing, causing Kurama to lift an eyebrow. This is for annoying me with those riddles. With that, he turned his mindscape orange. He would cherish Kurama's yell in horror. Yeah, Kurama's yell of horror forever. He had reached the Hokage tower, panting only lightly. Standing in front of the tower, he felt a little creepy. Let me say that again. He reached the Hokage tower, panting only lightly. Standing in front of the tower, he felt a little anxiety creeping up inside him. He faced the sky. What is the time, Kurama? Observe the position of the sun. Observing the position of the sun, it should be around 6 in the morning, he deduced. Naruto idly questioned himself. Quick water break, but we continue. Naruto idly questioned himself. Would Jiji be even awake at this hour? He shook his head. He would not back down now. He steeled himself and entered the tower, seeing almost no one in the corridors. He almost turned back, but resolutely thought to himself that if he should wait for him. He arrived in the front of the Hokage's office, seeing the absence of the secretary he knew was supposed to be here. He sat on the bench outside of the office. This was the first time in the Hokage Tower. This was his first time in the Hokage Tower. So he decided to look around, but there was not much to look around. Not much to look around. Yeah. All the important stuff must be in some place where only the authorized people can access it, he mused. Sighing, he closed his eyes, figuring figuring he could talk to Kurama about his newly acquired sensory abilities. Kurama, how could I sense the mob before I haven't even unlocked my chakra? Kurama thought about it for a bit and answered. He had nothing else to do anyway. Good observation, Naruto. It is simple. It was a newly awakened ability. Naturally, it would require time before it stabilizes. But before that happens, it is unstable for a little while. It was in that time period that you could sense the mob. Yeah, that you could sense the mob. If you were to try it now, you won't be able to use it. He explained, keeping it simple so Naruto could understand. After hearing Kurama's explanation, Naruto concluded that his ability, the ability that Kurama had given him, was a chakra-dependent ability. He could only use it as long as he infused chakra. That too, in a specific way, so that he could sense. Dang, that means I have to unlock my chakra. He pouted. Kurama again spoke. Before I forget, I did something else as well. Sensory ability was not the only thing I gave you. Naruto rose an eyebrow in confusion. Now that he thought about it, not many kids his age could do that. What do you mean? Kurama expanded on his statement. I tweaked your ability to sense danger as well. Naruto nodded. I noticed that. Kurama's smile. Kurama's grin became sly. Then, you did also notice that when your danger sense activated, your surroundings seemed to slow down. Naruto froze. Did that really happen? He thought back to the events of last night, specifically when he was avoiding the knives that were about to skewer him. He did remember seeing the knives coming in a sort of slow motion. Dang, he mentally whistled. Oh my goodness, you're right. I remember that now. How is that possible anyway? This ability would be so useful in the future. Kurama shrugged. It was my own way of saying thanks for what you did, for what you did to me, for what you did for me last night, Naruto. Naruto deliberated on whether to try and unlock his chakra right now or wait to enter the academy and then unlock it. So deep he was in his thought that he hadn't noticed the Hokage coming his way. Hiruzen had a restless night. The aged Hokage's worry increased when the dog and tiger came back after the search that lasted 4 hours. They reported that they searched every corner of the village, every possible place where Naruto might be, but found nothing. Hiruzen had dismissed them and headed back to his home, turning in for a sleepless and worrisome night. When he got up in the morning, his first thought was whether Naruto was alive or not. He immediately got up, shaking off the morning drowsiness like a seasoned veteran. He quickly got dressed and used the body flicker to get to the Hokage Tower. He quickly climbed the stairs that led to his office, intent on resuming the search for Naruto as soon as possible. He froze in his tracks. However, when he saw a familiar orange jumpsuit wearing kid, deep in his thought, this was not unusual for him. Naruto! His exclamation filled with relief and happiness. Naruto looked up, and Hiruzen knew something was wrong. And when instead of seeing the usual face-splitting grin, he was greeted with a small smile filled with sadness. Nevertheless, he grabbed the boy into a bear hug, which Naruto did not hesitate to reciprocate. Are you okay, Naruto? Where were you last night? The questions rushed out like water breaking from a dam. He felt tons lighter than he was. He felt tons lighter than he did last night. Naruto gave him a small smile and said, "Somewhat, Gigi. And as for the second question, I need to talk to you in private." Relieved, but his confusion growing, he ushered the boy in his office. Naruto's keen eyes scanned the office, looking around for where shinobi might be hidden. The Hokage cannot be without bodyguards after all. The upper 4 corners of the room, that's where they're hidden. Oh, wait. This is Kurama speaking, my bad. In the upper 4 corners of the room, that's where they're hidden. Kurama supplied helpfully. Naruto gave him a nod of thanks, and then turned his attention to the aging Hokage. So, Naruto, what would you like to talk about? Naruto debated whether to tell the old man to make his Anbu leave, but decided to kill two birds with one stone. I know who my parents are. That statement simply changed the entire atmosphere of the office. Hiruzen tensed up, and so did the Anbu in the office. To those who were intelligent, it was quite easy to deduce just whose son Naruto Uzumaki was. Fortunately or unfortunately, those were very few. However, Naruto's file itself was classified, with no one but the Hokage had access to. To find out that Naruto knew something that only the Hokage had the right to know was very unexpected. Hiruzen wasted no time, weaving his hand seals. The Anbu recognized the seal, or recognized the order to leave them alone. They vanished, and Hiruzen activated the privacy seal in his office. He gave complete attention to Naruto. And who were they? He asked. Naruto was unnerved by the caution in the old man's eyes. He steeled himself and answered, "The Yondaime Hokage and his wife." Hiruzen closed his eyes in acceptance and resignation. Resignation, I think. Yeah, we continue. He always knew Naruto would find out. He just never accepted it. Oh no, he just never expected it. It would be so soon. He opened them. He opened them to himself on receiving. He opened them to find himself on the receiving end of Naruto's accusing stare. Why did you pretend you didn't know, Gigi? Hiruzen barely caught himself from flinching. He gave a sigh. Who told you? Naruto promptly answered back. I figured it out myself. How? With curiosity killing him. He had to know if someone was out there wielding such dangerous information. Naruto recounted the events of last night. At the end of his explanation, Hiruzen was both relieved and curious. Relieved because he was glad that no one besides Naruto and him knew his parents' identity. Curious because he never knew that Minato found a way to hide from his peeping ball. Or crystal ball, basically. We continue. Both him and Naruto sat in silence for a while. Naruto was the one to break it first. Hurt in his voice. Gigi, why didn't you tell me? Hiruzen responded wariness, coloring his tone. Naruto, you have to understand that your father had made many enemies. I could not afford to take the chance that you wouldn't blurt it out accidentally. Anger finally filled Naruto. Do you have any idea how desperate I was for answers? He whispered. Oh, I shouldn't have said it loud, but yeah. Do you have any idea how desperate I was for answers? He whispered, but the anger in his voice was clear as the sky. Guilt hit the Hokage with the force of Gai's fist. He could honestly not relate to Naruto's situation. Do you know, Naruto's voice getting a little louder, how it broke me to not know the identity of my own parents? He was shouting at the end. I have the right to that information more than any other person in the world. Tears were freely flowing down Naruto's face by now. Hiruzen himself was shedding tears of his own. Naruto was right in that account. He had the right to know who the people were who brought him into this world, more so than anyone. But as the Hokage, his decision had to be logical. Sentiment could not be afforded by someone of his position. Naruto had calmed down after a few minutes. I have a question, Gigi, and I want an answer, an honest answer. He was glaring at the Hokage by now. Hiruzen wiped his own tears and answered, I'll do my best. Naruto was looking at his feet. Did they love me? Hiruzen smiled, this time, nostalgically. Naruto, you were their world, even before you were born. Naruto felt as if a weight had been taken off his shoulders. He had always wanted to know if his parents loved him. What child didn't? Did they leave something for me? That question caught Hiruzen off guard. However, he was able to recover quickly. Yes, they did, but I don't know where. Naruto leant back in his seat, eyes in the ceiling, or on the ceiling, thinking if it was in this office, Gigi would know, which means it's probably in his house. Kurama, would you know by any chance? He decided to ask the fox. Dang, I was hoping to watch you scuttle around for answers. It was always entertaining, Kurama grumbled. Naruto mentally raised an eyebrow. So you do know? Yes, in fact, it is the place where everyone would least suspect, answered the demon. Naruto waited for more, but it never came. He mentally huffed. Fine, I'll do it myself. And just for leaving me in suspense, he changed his mindscape to orange again. Kurama's howls were somehow louder than before. In a place where everyone would at least suspect. Where could that be? From what is written in the books, Dad was a very humble man, but the size of his house implies he liked to live in comfort. Since he was a seal master, a study where his dad did his work would almost be there. But he would place seals all over the place so it would be safe. Everyone would expect him to keep the important stuff in his study locked tight, he thought. Like lightning, the answer came to him, causing his eyes to widen slightly. Seals can be broken if someone is skilled enough, but no one expects to find treasure buried right under their noses, which means what isn't in the study is right in front of me. The image of my parents. Image of my parents. A portrait came into his mind. He stood up from the chair with such force that it was knocked backwards. I know where it is! Hiruzen jumped up at the shout, eyes widened. Know what, Naruto? But Naruto was already running towards the window. Hiruzen hurriedly deactivated the privacy seal. Just in time, Naruto opened the window and jumped onto the slope of the Hokage Tower. His speed easily carried him towards the edge of the slope. He executed a perfect cartwheel on the edge, his hands holding on the ends going over in the arc onto the wall. He then released his hold, falling towards the ground. He rolled perfectly to soften his landing, and he ran full throttle back to his parents' house. But I'm going to leave it there for now. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. But with all that being said, I'll see you all in part 4.